number 1. Never open the basement door. Rule number 2. Never ask what's knocking from the inside. Last night, I broke both. This is my last recording. If someone finds this tape, don't come here. Don't even try to find the cabin.
I'd never believed in curses, not until I inherited the cabin. The lawyer called it an old family property. What he didn't say was that my brother vanished there last winter. He went for a week of hunting, and all they found was his truck buried in snow, keys still in the ignition, the radio humming static. They called it exposure. I called it unfinished business. The cabin sits deep in the pines, a crooked scar in the snow. It leans to one side like it's tired of standing. The nearest town, if you can call it that, is 30 miles of frozen road away. No cell signal, no noise, just trees that creak like bones. When I arrived, the door was unlocked. Inside, everything looked exactly as he'd left it. His boots by the fireplace, the kettle still black from the last burn. There was even a mug on the table, half full of something that had frozen solid. But there was one thing he hadn't told anyone about. In the kitchen drawer, under a stack of yellowed letters, I found his journal. It was wrapped in duct tape, the words "Do not read" written across the cover. Of course, I read it. The first page was just one sentence. Rule number 1, never open the basement door. Rule number 2, never ask what's knocking from the inside. Rule number 3, if you see your reflection move before you do, run. I laughed. It felt like something he'd written during a drinking binge. Our family's sense of humor always leaned dark. But that night, when I tried to sleep, I heard it. 3 knocks, slow, deliberate, from directly below me. I told myself it was the pipes, or the old wood shifting in the cold. But deep down, I knew better.
I spent the next morning exploring the place. The walls smelled like pine resin and mildew. Dust danced in the light, leaking through the cracks. The cabin was divided into 2 sections, the newer east wing and the old western half that dated back to 1904. That part had a trap door in the floor, nailed shut. The air around it felt heavier, colder, like stepping into a room where someone had just whispered your name. The padlock was ancient, eaten through with rust. I thought about breaking it just to see what was down there, but something about the silence kept my hand still. On the counter lay an old Polaroid. My brother, smiling, holding a lantern. Behind him, in the photo's blur, something tall and white stood in the corner. A trick of the light, I told myself. A double exposure. Still, I flipped the picture face down. That night, I built a fire. The wind screamed through the trees, pressing cold fingers against the windows. I tried to read, but every creak of the floorboards felt deliberate, timed with my breath. Then came the knock 3 times from the floor beneath my chair.
Sleep never came. The air was thin. The silence so complete it became its own kind of sound. When I went to make coffee, I noticed footprints outside, bare, human, perfectly round in the snow. They circled the cabin once, then vanished into the tree line. I followed them for maybe 20 steps before realizing there were no prints leading to the cabin, only away from it. I went back inside. I locked the door. I didn't leave again that day. I tried to call for help, but the phone line was dead. The radio only gave static, a constant low hum that seemed to shape words when I wasn't listening closely enough. That night, I found more writing in my brother's journal. Small notes in the margins, half smudged by water or sweat. If the phone rings, don't answer it. It's not for you. Don't trust the mirrors after midnight. When the knocking stops, it means it found another way in. I set the book down. The floor beneath my feet was quiet. For the first time in days, I thought maybe the rules were just the ramblings of a man losing his mind. Then the phone rang.
It was the old rotary in the hallway, the one that had never worked. The bell clanged 3 times, mechanical and hollow. I froze. It rang again and again. I lifted the receiver. No dial tone, only static. Then a breath. A man's voice, thin and far away, whispered, "Rule number 4, don't listen to me." Then the line went dead. I dropped the phone and backed away. Every hair on my arm stood up. The air smelled like iron and cold dust. When I looked up, the mirror across the hall was fogged, as if someone had breathed against it. 4 words appeared slowly, scratched through the condensation. "He's still down there." I smashed the mirror. The room fell silent again. By morning, I knew what I had to do. The journal's final entry read, "When it calls your name, don't answer. When it begs, don't help. If you hear my voice, it's not me. I'm already part of it." The words were written in someone else's handwriting, trembling, uneven, like the hand of a man in pain. I told myself I'd leave. I packed the truck, started the engine, but the road was gone, completely swallowed by snow, as if the world outside the cabin had folded in on itself. Even the trees looked closer, their branches bent toward the house, like they were listening. I went back inside. That was the last time I saw daylight. By nightfall, the knocking had turned to scraping. something beneath the floor, moving fast. I felt it under every step. I shouted my brother's name, and the scraping stopped. For a few seconds, I thought maybe that ended it. But then, from the trapdoor, I heard his voice. "Please," he said, "it's cold down here. Let me out." It sounded exactly like him, every cadence, every breath. I wanted to believe. I wanted to save him, so I moved the chair. The door flew open before I could even touch it.
The basement wasn't as I remembered it from childhood visits. It was deeper, far deeper, an impossible drop into blackness. I shined my flashlight down, and the beam was swallowed whole. Still, I climbed the stairs, one creaking board at a time. Halfway down, the light flickered. The air was heavy, thick with moisture. Something dripped from above, a slow, rhythmic patter that matched the sound of a heartbeat. When I reached the bottom, I realized there were no walls, just endless dark. The cabin didn't sit on the ground anymore. It sat in something, a hollow space that pulsed with its own rhythm. The floor beneath me rippled like water. When I moved, it moved. And then I saw him. My brother. He was standing about 10 feet away, perfectly still, his face pale, his lips blue. But his eyes were wrong. Too wide, too bright, reflecting my flashlight even after I turned it off. "You shouldn't have come," he said. "It doesn't like when the rules are broken." "What is it?" I asked. He tilted his head, and the sound of wood creaking filled the space, though nothing was moving. He took a step toward me, then another. Every instinct in me screamed to run, but the stairs were gone. Behind me was only blackness. "It's been hungry," he whispered. "You brought it light. You brought it sound. You brought it a way out." His voice began to distort, splitting into 2, then 3 overlapping tones. I stumbled backward as his jaw unhinged and dropped, too wide, stretching down his chest. From inside came a hand, then another, pushing outward. I ran. I don't know how long I ran. There was no sense of direction, only echoing steps, and my own breath tearing through the silence. Everywhere I turned, the same faint glow of the cabin lights above, always out of reach. At some point, I found the recorder. It was lying in the dark, still warm, the red light blinking. The tape inside was halfway through, my brother's voice whispering the same 3 rules over and over. When I pressed stop, the air went silent again. I sat there for what felt like hours, trying not to breathe too loud, trying not to listen. Then from the shadows ahead, a new sound began. Soft, wet footsteps. I lifted the recorder and hit record. This is day... I don't know. The rules were right. Don't open the basement door. Don't ask what's knocking.
If you see your reflection move before you do, run. There's something down here. It's wearing my brother's skin, but it's not him. It speaks in his voice. It wants to be heard. The footsteps stopped. Just behind me, a whisper brushed my ear. You broke the rules.
When I woke up, I was back upstairs. Morning light filtered to the cracks in the wood. The trapdoor was closed again, sealed tight. My brother's journal was gone. In its place was a new one, clean, blank, with my name written on the cover. The first page reads, Rule number 1, never open the basement door. Rule number 2, never ask what's knocking. Rule number 3, if you hear your brother's voice, don't answer. Rule number 4, don't record the rules. I looked down at the tape recorder still running beside me. The red light blinks once, then twice. Then a voice, not mine, finishes the sentence I'm too afraid to say. Rule number 5, don't play this back.